and welcome to my channel. This channel is usually in Polish, but in some cases I make English videos. So if you would ever want to see more, I usually type ENG and the title, like in this one. So this video, as you can see, will be about Ocular Max Hellion, their version of Cliffjumper. I got this yesterday, so it's quite new for me, but I transformed it a few times. There are some videos already out, but I feel that they omit some parts that should be shown, and I want to share with you my opinion on this figure. So here we go. First of all, the box. I really like this box. It really looks nice. I never had actually a Japanese Diaclone Autobot car or the Minibot, but this reminds me of what I've seen in the pictures. It's extremely small, which I appreciate because of the figures and the boxes. It takes a lot of space, but this is very small. This is a typical Autobot car box, so as you can see, it is extremely small, but for me it's a big plus, and it's very hard cardboard. So as you can see, here we have some information. Here we have a description, very nice artwork, and inside we have I was expecting a styrofoam from this box, but you can't really see from this angle how he is stored, so that's very nice. But inside we have something like this. I already put the Autobot logo here, so you will have to do this as well. So we have a figure in this shell. We have instructions, a card, a text pass decoder, and those parts are also stored inside, but I kept them separately because they are very small and they are easy to just fall away somewhere. And one more thing, as you can see, there's a steering wheel here, and you can store it on the car, but it's very easy to knock off, and I decided after the third time that I spent of looking for it, like 20 minutes, when I dropped it on the floor, I decided to keep this in the small bag. So the car is stored like this, and under the car we have a bag of accessories. So before I get to the accessories, I want to show you a size comparison. So here he is next to an Autobot car. So he is a lot smaller, but I think I don't really mind this. He looks like a small compact car, and I don't think this thing in this size could not exist in the real world. So let's see how he looks with some figures. So here is Spike. So I think that's about right actually for this scale. My Spike has trouble standing, so maybe if I link him over like this, and here's Tellaria. No, not Tellaria. Powerglide's girlfriend. I always forget her name. So they don't look bad together. So let's move him aside and let's get back to the car. There are a few alternatives to Cliffjumper. Well, I don't really count X-Tron bots as an alternative because he has parts forming, and for me that's not really a transformer. So there's a Ace Toys tumbler that I have, and I will be showing, but not in car mode. So the car mode rolls very well, and the detail is very nice. The parts are very small, but like you can see, this gap is almost closed, and everything is it really gives a good feeling to look at those lines that are close like this. So this is a very precise work. However, in mine there is a gap here that I'm unable to eliminate. So if I push them together, it does come closer, but I'm unable to avoid it in any way. But this part is metal, I believe. And what else? There are some metal parts inside, but maybe it's not metal. Actually, it's really hard to tell. But maybe it is a lot of paint. But there are it is heavy. It's like similar. It even feels maybe heavier than this one. I don't know why weight is so important for some people, but it is. So a bit more close-up shots. Here's the license plate, and actually you can open the doors and you have a car interior, which is really nice. You have a stick for changing the gears, and this is where the wheel would be, steering wheel here, but I keep it in the bag because I don't want to lose it. So these are the sadly those seats are you cannot lock them in any way, so they can move around, but I think I saw someone put the spike inside, so I think he can sit inside. He looks like he could. I will not fit him myself, but I think it is possible. So I think the interior and stuff like this are things that really add to the value of these kinds of figures. And from the accessories we actually have some that are usable in this mode. So you have those skids that you just put over the wheels. They just plug in this hole here, so they will turn with the wheels, but once he is sitting flat it doesn't really matter because they are all flat. So like this, you can push them further, but I did it like this so it's easier to take them out. And there's a front bumper, but when you put it, okay, maybe I should push them further. Okay, I think they are all the way. And this is when you put this in, this tends to separate. So let's see if this happens. So as you can see, when I'm pushing this gap becomes bigger, so that's not nice. But he does look cool in this. He does slide on the skids, and there is this thing here comes off, and you can replace it with this part with this silver thing sticking out. I'm not gonna do it because I'm afraid by removing this I will damage some of the paint, which is very nice on this figure. So let's remove this, all of those parts. So, but I pushed this all the way, and now it's not that bad actually. So this is looking nice. So let's move to the transformation. I will show you how I think it is best to do it. I usually, when I get the figures, I try to transform them without the instructions, and I also did on this one most of it, but I had to look to the instruction because there are some issues, at least with mine, so I wasn't sure if it's my figure or something else. So there are a few ways to start. I will be transforming him back to car mode, but as you can see there are locking points here on this bar, so best way to start is just to push, so those two squares are empty, and you just I'm gonna move this down, actually it doesn't matter, extend this all the way. So when you do it, you can move this whole part here, and then it's very stiff on mine. Okay, when you're at this point, it's good to separate the legs, but this part here is not snapping in like this, but it's like a slider, so you have to pull this thing a bit down and this thing up so it separates. So you will see, you see, so this is when you're putting it back together, you also have to get this movement. So and now those parts move up, And this is a part that took me a long time to figure out about the instructions. This thing moves here like this, so it's interesting, and this allows you to move the whole foot down. Now this wheel moves down, this small thing here tucks in, and when you're moving it down it snaps in here. So, and you can just move this down, so the leg compacts extremely in this figure. So I actually like the big feet on minibots, so it's not a plus, or for me actually they could have been bigger but I know for some people it's important that the feet are not that big, so here you go, they are not that big. Okay, now those windows you can help yourself with the finger here like this to move them aside, and now move the arms, so this part here moves out, and this is easy to move, but it's hard to tell how to move, so you just I think it will become very clear once you have the figure, if you have the figure, how to move it. But there are a lot of small panels here, but basically they can only move one way. And okay, so is it closed? Not yet. So as you can see, by moving them the arm is forming, so this is quite interesting the way it is done. This is mostly so that there are seats, I think, in the car, so it could have been done in an easier way, less complex, but it's not really bad, this part. The worst part we are coming to. So okay, we have this. Now we will separate, maybe not, maybe we will, as you can see here, there is a slider. This whole part is metal, by the way. Is a slider here, and you can slide this whole section slightly up, and it is very important. And once you do it, you can move this thing, which opens the head, reveals the head, and you may want to move this part here right now, because if you forget it, can be hard to get back to. And okay, so now there are two small parts here that hold the bottom bar of the car. So the instructions tells you to move them, and all the movies I seen tell you to move them like this. You can see, and okay, and before I do it, there will be one more part. This bar here has to come over the head. So, but you have to be careful not to rub the nose on this bar, because I think it can be easily damaged. So, okay. So this is pushed all the way, and you have to put the doors in now. I mean, it is a lot better to do it now, because later there will be some clearance issues. So you just move the doors like this, and they are fitting inside very nicely, so like this. And up till this point everything is okay, but on every movie that I've seen, and even on the instruction movie, this part has to rotate like this, right? And those two parts have to somehow fit. But maybe it's not visible on the movies, but on mine, as you can see, this part is already starting to push on those doors. Oh, sorry, you cannot see. So you see here, this is pushing on those doors, and it's moving those windows out, and it has to force its way through. So it's I don't know what else can be done. I think I saw in the instruction that this part, while sliding out, it rotates a bit to the back, but I am not sure how to achieve this, if mine is stiff or something is wrong. So the way I have to do this, and probably if you have a version like mine, you also will have to do this. I have to keep my thumb under this part here. Sorry, it's hard to get the focus under here. So if I don't do this, and I move the, like on the movies and the instructions, here's what happens. One part grabbed, the other is stuck inside. So okay, I want them both like this, so I have to go back. But now if I move back, this part rotates up, and now it's obstructing this, so it's like very tight fit. Now it's blocked and it's moving the doors here. So maybe if I adjust the camera and be a bit further back, it will be easier. So now, as you can see, that's something is, either I'm doing something wrong or something is wrong with this design. Maybe not sure. I'm not sure, because this thing really fits well. Everything, this alignment, possible alignment, is very good. It's like almost seamless. But this one rotation part here, I have to put my thumb here so that this part, and you can see I'm almost bending plastic. So this one is here, the second one also has to grab, so I have to move this back. Okay, and they are both secure, so when it does happen, it is okay, but it's not a pleasant feeling. So now this thing closed, this off the back, and now you can move the entire section down, and this back additionally plugs in here. So the doors, after this movement, they are sticking out like this, so they are not as flat as they were. But if you move this, it will push the doors and they will be in place. But maybe something wrong with the doors inside, I'm not sure, but those parts will keep them in place. And actually, when you're moving the arms, they don't really, they stay in place by friction. So it's this part, so it's not that bad. And this part here, let's move the head. So basically the robot mode is done, and here he is. Here's Cliffjumper in his robot mode, and the way he looks, we'll talk about that later. So before, I think this wing something was misaligned here. Okay, you have to push this. So here he is, and let's look at his accessories first. So he has 3 faces. This is like a not happy face, frowning face, I think. Something on his nose. No, it should be fine. This is a frowning face. This is I think this is the default face, the one on the right. That's like less frowning. More, I mean, the eyes are different. They are more closed here, and they are more open on this version. This one is a screaming face. The sculpts are nice. I think this one is my favorite. But now that I've seen, I'm worried about that dot on his nose. I wonder if it is something that I done already, but we will see. And so these are the accessories. He has a gun like this that is seen in episode Traitor, I believe. So he can let's move it in this hand, so he can hold it, and he can hold the guns really well, which you think would be the standard, but it's not. Once you put them in, they are secured very well. It's from this angle it's hard, but okay. This is one gun. This is a second gun that I think he used in the Heavy Metal War. It reminds me a lot of the Jazz gun, the G1 Jazz gun. So here he is. And again, you can align this everything, and when you push at this angle, it's hard for me to push this out the way, but you can do it. Okay, I think it's almost in. So those guns, because this is like this. Sorry. So this is the second gun, and it's not going in actually. Oh, maybe, okay, maybe now something was wrong with the rest of the hand. So this gun is like this. So I think, as you can see already, I'm slightly moving him, and he's really has a lot of good, I don't know if a presence is the correct word, but you can position him in a very interesting way. And there is one more gun, and this is the big launcher thing. It even has a tripod. So I will move this to this hand, because this gun I'm not a big fan of. So you can move this in here like this. It's really easier than I'm making this look. Okay, so you can position the gun like this on a straight arm, but you can also do a shoulder position, because this handle here rotates, so you can do something like this, which is really cool. I really like this. But for me, I think my personal setup is just this one gun, him holding this one gun. Okay, so here he is. There are really nice ways to pose him. I really wish there was a side-to-side movement. Unfortunately, it's not there. You can get some additional bending if you move this, transform some of his leg. So you can do it. As you can see, this thing keeps sliding, but it actually helps to balance him better. So he really has this thing that you pose him. Most of his poses look well. So if you like his look, you can pose him really well. And the minus for me is that the neck does not go all the way down, and at this angle you can see right through. So at some angles like this or like this, it doesn't really bother me, but on my shelf, the way he is standing, he's like this a lot of the time. So if something bright is behind him, it sticks out, and it doesn't look very nice. So the head, to change the head, you just pull on this. Okay, this one is sitting quite stiff, so okay, it's out. But the default head, which is this, was sitting a lot. It had a lot less friction. So let's move this one. So this is the basic head. He's more friendly, let's say, but it's still sticking out, and you can get really nice poses with him. The arm articulation is very nice. So about his looks, I personally like the way he looks. I don't. I'm not sure how he fits with the rest, but I like the way he looks so much that I would actually be willing to build figures around him with the similar aesthetic. So here is Ace Toys Tumbler, which is an alternative. I like them both. I really like them both, but this one has a lot of detail compacted in a small space. So when you look at him, you really see all those interesting parts. And this one obviously has a lot of big surfaces. I also have this thing, which is a prototype head for the red bumblebee that I made some time ago. So this is another alternative. So this is how he looks. Actually, I made a very similar gun to this one. Oops. But mine is I also did my research of the episodes, so but mine is made in black. So this is it. Let's see him with some other figures. So here he is with Bumblebee. He is a bit taller, which is very nice. The head is somewhat small, but it doesn't really bother me. I'm not sure why. It doesn't really look off. So here he is. I think this guy doesn't look bad with him. He's the recolor of Tumblr. I don't know what his name is, but he's Hubcap, his version of Hubcap, and they look interesting together. Here, let's move some more Minibot based figures. So here he is next to Brown, that cute Brown, and Brown is a bit big next to him. So, but it's still possible. Who else do I have? Let's put Cubex Hover. It's also not that bad, but I wish he was a bit bigger. So let's see how he looks with bigger butts. Here he is with Blue Streak, which is actually has the same voice actor, so I think they look nice together. The detail and the aesthetic is similar. I also have this, which is a prototype of a Datsun mold that has slightly different proportions. I don't know if you can see this on this angle. Actually you cannot, but this thing is sitting higher, so this gap is bigger. So this is the thing that I'm working on. And let's put some bigger butts. So here he is with, let's move the camera. So here he is with Hellion from Make Toys. I think they look interesting together. Here he is with Ironhide from TFC. My choice for Ironhide. I think they also look interesting. Here he is with Jazz from, this one is from Toy World. It's with my upgrades, so they also look interesting. Here he is with the DX9 Mirage with my head. So here he is with Spin Out. Okay, so a lot of people say that his chest is very wide, but this is actually the camera that the further you are from the center, the wider the shot is. So he's actually not that wide, as you can see here, but the further I move, he becomes wider. So okay, I will put them to the back so that you don't get a wrong idea. And here's another MMC product. Here's a Hoist. So he really looks interesting with those figures. I don't think he will look very well with the Takara based, the new cartoon based molding that I'm not a big fan of. So let's leave those two together and show how they look with some Optimus Prime. So here he is with Optimus Prime. He has the head with the light piping, not light piping, the diodes inside. So his eyes are black, but it's not looking bad. Actually, I think the Prime is a bit too big next to them, but it's acceptable. And if you're not sure of this aesthetic, here he is with Generation Toy Prime, which is okay aesthetic wise, but the color palette is different, so I'm not sure how they fit together. Oh, here he is with Make Toys Hound. I also think that those figures look nice together. They have this detailed real material vibe to them. And this is a thing that project. I do some 3D printed things, and this is the project that I had for some time, but I made some improvements to it, so I will be sharing this with you now because I'm excited about this. So these are new guns for Power Master Prime. They are based on his G1 guns, but the big thing is that I get access to some new materials, and actually now in his head there is an opening here. There's some wires, and you can put 2 batteries there, and you have glowing eyes. So I know this is not like super new or exciting, but for me to be able to do this on my own, I'm really happy about this. So surely took some time to make this thing big enough. I mean the light pipe thing big enough so that the light is not too bright, which happens a lot on figures lately, I think. But I'm digressing. So here's a bonus for you. So like I said, this figure is really interesting, but I'm not sure how it fits with the typical collection, let's say, because my choice for figures are not the popular choice. So I showed you what I have on my shelf and how they fit together, but this you will have to decide for yourself. But I really think he is looking nice, and the thing with this, okay, I really wish someone would tell me if this is an error or something like this, because it really breaks up the transformation. Like, everything is fitting very together, the parts are very well made, but this thing like breaks this illusion, let's say. I mean, not illusion, because they are really well made, but it breaks this feeling like it's smooth, and this is like a bump in the road. But let's see how he transforms to the car mode, because it's kind of a tricky maybe again. So to unlock this everything, you have to pull this because this backpack hooks, and this is where the steering wheel is, so it's very easy to knock off in robot mode. This backpack is hooking like this, so you have to actually move this a bit down like this, so it unclips, and now move everything up on this bar here, which is up. It's a very slight movement, but it is important to do. Okay, now let's move the arms away so they are not hindering movement. Okay, and now as you can see, you have to, let's move this so we can move the head back. You have to rotate this part here, and again this is pushing the plastic like this. It's not rubbing, but it's not a good sound. And now it's stuck on this part, and here, and I may be doing something wrong, I am not sure, but like I said, this breaks up the thing. But so far I made like 6 or 7 transformations to see if this could be done in a different way, and actually there is no damage anywhere apart from this. No, but I think I had this from the start. It's not really that visible in either mode. I'm not noticing it. Okay, and this, you can see this is abstracting this, so this very small part here is the most annoying of the whole figure. So now let's finish up the back, and to do this we have to move the head like this, and I can see there is a very little clearance between those two parts. Okay, it's clear now. And the head has to be positioned like this, I believe, and the wheels are a bit in the way, so let's move it like this. Okay, and now you can push this bar back. Can you? It is pushed back actually, so you have to just somehow move this thing so it fits. Oh, okay, so it has to rotate like this, and you can close. Oh, actually it can be closed like this. As you see, this thing here fits extremely well. It's like you couldn't tell that this is opening if you didn't know. You would think that this is somehow, I don't know, connected solid, but so this is a nice touch. Okay, now the arms, this thing rotates here like this, and the arms open up, okay, like this, and okay, this thing fell off. It happened, and good. It's good that it happens, so I can show you this. It slides like this, and this part here is not connected. There is a screw here, but I don't know if mine is screwed all the way, because I can push this. You can see it's now more closed, so this thing does not fall. Because of the rotating movement, I think I'm pushing this part a bit up, and it's loosening up those doors. So that's another issue, but it's not really. It doesn't really affect the figure much. And the instructions tell you to move this fist like this. So you have something like this, and this part has to be moved outside so that this locks like this. So at this part you will be probably knocking this off a few times, but do not worry. I think it's unavoidable, and it's not really that big of an issue, because you will be realigning it anyway when the front of the car is done. So this is like this. This moves here. This rotates. It really becomes, those movements become obvious after you've done it a few times. So this moves. So like everything is it has a very nice, interesting flow up to this point with the rotating your chest. But at the movies I saw, it's also a smooth movement for them. So can please someone tell me if I'm doing something wrong, or is something misassembled on mine, or because I really would like this to be as good as it can be. Okay, so this is it. Okay, I think it's okay. And the doors can close. Right now I'm doing this just to align those parts, but you will have to do this again probably later on. Okay, this is it. And now move those two legs. Now you have to move them up like this now, because you may have some problems later. This part separates, so like this. move everything like this. This is back, actually moving back the same steps that you made when transforming him into robot mode. Just the other way, moving the parts the other way around. There are no tricks here. And like I told you, to connect those two you have to move right part a bit lower and this and twist them and do something like this, and they will plug in together. If you want to push them just by like this, it will not work. Okay, so this is done, and you are pushing this part here, and now you have to, this has to lock into this part. Okay, and this is the part that I always forget. You see here? It seems like this would fit here, but actually there's a small part here that's rotated underneath, which I think every transformation I forget to do this. And it's annoying because you cannot just turn it away like this. You have to basically redo most of the feet and now move it up. So yeah, it's my mistake, but it is annoying. So again, on this part, moving this up, rotating this part here, leg moves down, this part goes up. Sorry if I was off frame for some time, but this part here and connects. So when you're at this point, all you have to do is just slide everything here, and this should align. As you can see, this gap is still present, and now you can do this. So I was pushing this the wrong way before, so there's a small stretch mark, but that's entirely my fault. And this part is something okay, and this thing the same here. It's easier to move this with the thumb up, so the angle is correct, because these are really precise tabs. They plug in very well, but at the exact angle. So you can see this is very well compact, and you have him back in car mode. So he is back in his robot mode for this closing statement or closing thought. So I would be honest with you, I would tell you the full spectrum of emotions that I went through when I got him. First, I was happy because I really liked the box. I opened the box, he really looked well in car mode. Then I began to transform him, and I thought, oh, something is wrong, I don't like this, this is not right. Then I transformed him fully, I put him in the shelf. He wasn't what I expected at first, but very fast he caught my attention. He's just interesting to look at. There's a really a lot of packed into this small area of space that catches your eye. A lot of bigger figures right now that came out don't have this kind of lines, panel lining that's interesting. So I really like this. So like I said, I'm not sure how well he will fit into your collection. I think he really looks interesting at my collection, and actually I tend to transform him the most of the figures that I own, because I'm seeing improvement because those parts are very small and it takes a lot of precision to move them, and I really feel like improving my motor skill by transforming him. So these are my thoughts about him. I hope this will help you to make your decision. I don't think you will be disappointed. You may have some struggling at first because he's not an easy figure to just take and and put on your shelf and to know this figure. You really have to learn this figure. So, but after you do, he is really nice. So thank you for watching this video. If you're interested about more of my stuff, please visit my other movies, and see you out there.